So now we come to the last slide. What is the future course of action for Muslims? Should we give up and say no to the integration? No, we should not do this because it is against the principles of Islam. We stand for the unity of mankind, and therefore we cannot say no to globalization and integration. Trade has benefits, it expands markets, it raises growth, and therefore we have to work for greater trade among the countries. Of course, this means greater effort for bringing about justice in the negotiations on the tables. So we have to, in other words, struggle. Jihad is the word here. Jihad, of course, has been misused. This means kalimat al-haqq inda sultan in jair. We have to say the right thing in front of those who are trying to overpower us. This is ultimately, of course, going to be successful. It has brought about a number of successes for developing countries, and if we continue in the right direction, we will be able to get more and more from them. So we will be able to proceed towards the goal of Islam, which is the unity of mankind. However, protective tariffs are not the only cause of Muslim underdevelopment at the moment. In other words, tariffs or restrictions on trade in the Western world are not the only problem that we face. There are a number of things that are hurting our development, and according to Ibn Khaldun's theory of development, he has tried to integrate a number of socio-economic and political factors in his theory of development to show when countries develop and when countries go down. And among the factors that he has taken into account are governance. That means good governance is absolutely necessary. Political authority is the word he uses. Nowadays it is the common word is good governance. And then the values of the society, worldview and values of the society, and the people, characteristics of the people, and the wealth, the kind of wealth that they own, and then growth and justice. These are some of the factors that he integrates into his model to show when countries develop and when countries go down. He has also a trigger mechanism. In other words, there is something that triggers, that takes a country towards development, activates all these factors in the right direction, and there is something which triggers the decline of a country, activates all these factors in the negative direction. So, as far as Muslims are concerned, a number of the Muslim countries do not have good governance. There is a great deal of corruption, the governments are inefficient, ineffective, there is a great deal of bureaucracy, there are a number of political problems in a number of Muslim countries, there is political unrest. As a result of this, also there is a slow growth in development. Then there are values. Of course, the values that Islam has given are extremely good, but these values do not prevail in the Muslim world. For instance, hard work. The Prophet ﷺ emphasized hard and efficient work. He said that إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ إِذَا عَمَلَ أَحَدُكُمْ عَمَلًا أَنْ يُتْقِنَهُ. That God loves that when one of you does a work, he does it أَنْ يُتْقِنَهُ. He does it most effectively, in the best possible manner. And this is something we lack in many Muslim countries. People are not willing to work hard, and people are not as efficient as they should be in their work. Of course, this is not their mistake. There are a number of factors which are responsible for this. One of these is education and training, which is not available, particularly to the poor. In our Muslim history in the past, education was free. Now education has become very expensive, and an effort should be made to make it available at least to the poor, free of cost, and if this is not possible, at least at affordable cost. So this is one of the reasons for the lack of hard and efficient work. Then there is honesty and integrity. Islam is emphasized, but it is not available in the Muslim world as much as it should be. Conscientiousness, reporting to work on time, and doing our best to do the work as well as we can, conscientiously. Then punctuality, competence, education, all these things are missing. And then, of course, we go to the people. The character, the quality of the people is not as good as one would expect in a Muslim society. It requires proper upbringing, good quality education and training, particularly vocational training, and there are not as many facilities available for these as one would expect. And then, of course, wealth. Wealth also, the Muslim world, some of the Muslim countries are very rich in natural resources. Some of them are not. But the ones who are not rich in natural resources, they are rich in manpower. But the manpower is not of the quality that would take them to heights in terms of development, and therefore it is necessary to train the people. I mean, they are a wealth for the nation, but not being properly utilized because of the different problems. And then justice also, this also suffers because the people who work are not paid as well as they should be. Their wages are very low, their salaries are not there. If they create anything, in other words, if they are innovative, they may not be able to get the reward for their innovation, and therefore there is no incentive, there is no encouragement. So all these things have to be created. In other words, there is need for a total reformation of the Muslim world to enable it to develop. And as we develop and we have more goods to be able to export, until we have more goods to export, we will not be able to increase our exports, even if the restrictions on imports in other countries are reduced. So there is need for a whole change in the atmosphere around the Muslim world, and peaceful struggle is the only answer. In other words, all of us have to struggle to reform our governments, to reform our people with respect to their values, to help them get better education, better upbringing, and to enable the use of whatever wealth we have in the right manner, and to have greater justice in our countries. If we are able to do this, we will be able to benefit from integration and globalization as much as we should be able to do. Therefore, this is the lesson of globalization for us, that we should not be against it, we should rather be for it, in spite of the fact that the industrial countries are using globalization in a manner which is useful for them and not necessarily as much for the developing countries. So we have to support globalization, but globalization with justice. And this requires a struggle, more and more struggle on our part, to convince them that they will be able to benefit from the poorer countries only if there is justice. The rich world needs us, and they will be able to accept many of our demands. Why they need us? Because the rate of growth in those countries has slowed down. and there is a great deal of unemployment, particularly in Europe, and it is also increasing in the United States now, and therefore they will be able to increase their rate of growth if they are able to integrate, globalize, export more to developing countries, and they will be able to export more if they do something to raise the income in the developing world, and they will be able to raise the income in the developing world by providing not only financial assistance but also technological assistance, and also reducing their tariffs, so that there is one of the major things where their help is needed is the increase in agricultural exports of developing countries. They have a large number of subsidies on agricultural imports, which are reducing imports in their countries, and this is the area where the developing countries have a comparative advantage. If they want us to import goods in which they have a comparative advantage, they should enable us to export more of the goods in which we have a comparative advantage, and one of them is, of course, agriculture. If we can improve our agriculture, we will be able to improve our industries, because many of the industrial countries developed first by developing their agriculture and then going into industry. And this is the process that many developing countries may have to follow if they want, because the major part of their population is rural areas, and they need to increase their income. As their income increases, they will be able to have more education, more training. They will be able to come to cities, be absorbed in the industries in the cities, and lead to greater and faster development. Thank you.